Before going into the analyzation of an art piece, I'm going to give a brief description about the artist Masaccio. Masaccio was an Italian Renaissance artist who was born in Castel San Giovanni on December 21st, 1401. By 1418, he was working as a painter in Florence. By 1422, Masaccio had his own art workshop and had enrolled in the Arte dei Medici Speciali, which was a corporation that controlled the arts in Florence. By 1427, Masaccio did his famous painting that I'm going to go into detail with in a little bit, the Holy Trinity. His last painting was not completed and was located in the Colonna Chapel in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore. He finished a lateral panel and started the other before he died, which is assumed to be in 1428. Masacco's work is categorized under Italian Renaissance art. A lot of his pieces contain religious symbols, imagery, and humanism, which is common for Italian Renaissance art to embrace. The Holy Trinity, which was finished in 1428, shows Jesus crucified on the cross with God the Father standing behind, towering over Jesus. God has on a darker piece of clothing covering the majority of his body. At the base of the painting, you can see Mary on his right and St. John on his left. The painting contains Christian religious figures and humanism. The humanism comes into play with God standing behind Jesus. When people think of God or any kind of God, they typically imagine a grandiose person with white hair, a juror who has strength almost incapable for our human minds to fathom. In Renaissance art, God is portrayed typically by a hand or by light, but in this painting, God is brought down to the human level, in this case with Jesus. God looks human in this painting. He has human-like features and is wearing human clothing. It is allowing the viewer to see God as human rather than the divine spirit he is. The second artist I am going to give a brief description about is Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was an Italian polymath from the Renaissance era. He was considered to be the father of paleontology and architecture, and lastly, one of the greatest painters of all time. He is known for his paintings such as the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He did not have much or any academic training like other great artists did. Despite that, he is considered to be one of the most diversely talented individuals to have ever lived. Da Vinci is also mildly credited for the inventions of the parachute, helicopter, and tank. He passed in 1519 at the age of 67. Lastly, I am going to describe another famous painting by Leonardo da Vinci, Lady with an Ermine. Lady with an Ermine is dated from 1489 to 1490, and it is considered to be one of Poland's national treasures. The subject of this painting happens to be Cecilia Gallerani. Cecilia Gallerani was known to be a teenage mistress for Ludovico Sforza, who was the Duke of Milan at that time. In the case of Lady with an Ermine, the symbolism happens to lie upon the ermine she is holding and her hair. The ermine is a small mammal, part of the Mustelidae family. In the majority of artworks in which ermines appear, they usually always symbolize purity, high status, pregnancy, or false pregnancy. The soft white winter coat ermines have are what help further exemplify the symbolization of purity in artwork. Da Vinci agrees and follows the trend of representing purity within his painting, Lady with an Ermine, by adding the small creature to Lady Cecilia. The purpose of Da Vinci adding the ermine, which is to symbolize purity, to a mistress was to allude to the fact that she was still a pure child during that time period. Children then and now have always been seen to be innocent and pure. Without the ermine, the painting would have just shown a beautiful young woman or a young mistress, and viewers would have ignored the fact that she was just a child. Cecilia's hair and clothing symbolize how she is being treated materialistically. She is wearing beautiful, neat clothing and fashionable accessories. She is wearing a headpiece that was commonly used as a fashion accessory in the 15th century. She has an inscription on her dress saying La Belle Ferronnière, literally translating to the beautiful ironmonger. But by using Ferronnière, he is referring to her headpiece. The Duke of Milan treated his mistress Cecilia with what he believed to be material necessities. most likely believing that he was taking care of her. She grew up from a poor household, and he was from a wealthy one. One could only imagine that she was being satisfied with materialistic items, as she was keeping him satisfied by being his mistress.